soul of entertainment.
Yeah, good morning. It's another edition of your program, Summit, transmitted to you from MITV here in Lagos. And the program is Summit. My name is Jumoke Michaels. You're welcome. Banji.
Yeah, good morning, Jumoke.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
You look great. As usual, anyway. But today is much greater.
You know.
Today is much greater.
Oh, yeah.
And we thank God for the gift of life. It's my pleasure, my honor, to actually announce the world through this medium that Jumoke here, God has seen her through the last 365 days, and she's starting yet another 365 days today. Today is her birthday. Yay. And I'm glad to actually celebrate my co-presenter here on the program, Jumoke Michael.
Thank you.
I say hearty congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Many happy returns of the day. So after the program now,
we'll talk about that.
So my name is Banji Busari. This is a midweek edition of the program, and I'm glad to be here.
Yes, today on the program we're looking at actually this issue that's been talked about so often, and there seems not to be a way out. Sort of, we're talking about the proposed local government autonomy. You know, we know that the 774 local government chairmen and vice chairmen have been, you know, lobbying for autonomy, you know, being able to be independent, which they say will make them more productive, and people will be able to see what they are doing in our localities. But the bill seems to be stuck somewhere, even though the National Assembly approved it, but nobody is hearing anything about it anymore.
No, it's still a bill that is actually undergoing passage. It's not actually been passed. The autonomy is still an issue that has not been fully resolved, even at the National Assembly level. As desirable as it is, Jumoke, everybody is talking about it, that the best way to actually advance, the best way to move our communities forward, to upgrade activities at the third tier of government, to make government, impactful at the grassroots level, is actually to empower the local government, to make them autonomous, to ensure that they control their finances. They're also in charge of the administrative decisions.
Even to election level.
Elections level and all that. Yet, even till date, it's still a desire. It's not seen the light of the day. You recall that a couple of months ago, the federal government, the APC led government, that's President Muhammadu Buhari, actually told the local government council chairman that they will be held responsible for the expenses at the budget, for budgetary allocations to the local government. That's to tell you how desirable is this. The government is actually willing, but the enablement, the constitutional enablement to actually see through is like what's actually stalling it. And one keeps wondering, if everybody knows it's the right way to go, the
right thing to do,
so what's actually stalling it? And we actually want to discuss it. Is it the local government chairman that actually talking with tongues in their cheek, or the state government who are allegedly benefiting from the status quo that actually stalling it? So we actually want to look
really
further and see what's actually happening.
All right, before we go into that discussion this morning, we know that the Community Day held in Lagos recently, I think last week or 2 weeks back, held in Lagos recently at the Police College ground in Ikeja here in Lagos. So before we go into that discussion, we'll actually be showing you just a short video of the event that took place in that Community Day event here in Lagos. So you want to sit back, we'll be right back after this break.
To be invited by the Commissioner of Local Government Affairs, Arobieke, and the Planning Committee. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Come together to know each other, to know your neighbor, to know the type of work they do, harnessing our strengths. In diversity, there is unity. Communities in which everybody's problem is your problem. Communities in which we guard what the government has put in our communities, our hospitals, our schools, our markets. Each and every one of these things belong to us. We do not take them for granted. We don't allow people to come and destroy properties that belong to us, that has been donated through the government, through our taxes. These communities, as you have displayed at the parade today, are in your care. The schools are in your care. The hospitals are in your care. Your community, the cleanliness of your community are in your care. Once again, I want to say,
Ojo tí ẹ túrọ̀ lẹ́nìí, so gbogbo yín ni mo rí yín bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe yan síta pé inú yín dùn, ayọ̀ yín sì kún gidigidi gan. Ní orúkọ gbogbo àwọn sí.
Mr. Dama is cutting the tape at this point in time. Yes, the tape. Third position.
Chief Tunde Bakari. I'm the chairman of Progressive Estate CDA in Egbe Idimu SCDA.
Okay, now today you're
very, very excited. I feel very excited in the sense that our efforts, I feel very excited, very delighted in the sense that our little contribution to the development of our community is being appreciated, recognized by the local, by the state government. Not only the state government, by our community and the local council as well. So we are very delighted about it. We never knew that whatever we are doing, somebody somewhere is watching it. Because when we started it, people are thinking that probably we are just just wasting time or whatever. Never knew that it would be recognized one day. So we are very delighted. Myself and my team, my officers and all the ESCO, we are very, very delighted for this.
Good afternoon. I am Alaji Olatunde Okuobi, the CDC chairman, Mushin Local Government. To celebrate community days, we do this every year, annually since my inception as chairman. And it's always occasion for us to come together from all local governments, 57 local governments, the local government and the SCDEs. We meet here, we interact, we discuss community affairs, and we exchange experiences as far as community affairs is concerned. And on that note, it's always a very good occasion to meet other colleagues on community issues. So what the affair, it's just a reference to the grassroots people, because the community, I mean the CDA, the CDC, they are almost very not almost, they are the closest people to the people in their various areas. They deal with the alerters, they deal with all local persons in and around, and among them.
CDC Chairman Ojokoro LCDA. We are here to celebrate communities. Today is community development member. We are celebrating Community Day, which is an annual event for all CDAs in Lagos State. In the first instance, it is meant to recognize community development associations that executed various projects within their localities. Not only that, it is also meant to rejoice with the communities, government rejoicing with the communities for being organized and being together peacefully. So that's why we are here, to rejoice with each other that our life is being spared till now. Association of members, community members within each localities, and for a state to grow and grow well, there must be peace. The association is meant to bring together people of various languages, situations, and to execute projects that will be of benefit to each and every one of them. Thank you, Alaji Aremu, CDC Chairman Ojokoro LCDA. Thank you.
CDA and CDCs here present, ladies and gentlemen, at this point in time, may we all rise to take the national anthem, signifying the commencement of the celebration of the 2019 Community Day. May we all rise for the national anthem.
All right, you're welcome. That's the package, okay?
Yes.
I'm told often and often that the CDs are also a form of government, the fourth tier of government. So that's why government is actually in partnership with the CDs across the state to further bring down development to the grassroots. So that's one of the essence of the community day. And it was highly attended by all the 57 local government and SCDs in Lagos State. So it's an annual event. So that's something very, very commendable.
Very important, yeah. All right, now to our discussion this morning, which, like I said, is titled Proposed Local Government Autonomy, Challenges and Prospects. And joining us for the discussion this morning, we have a one-time former presidential candidate of the National Conscience Party in year 2015, who's also a public affairs communicator. We have Engineer Martins Onovo here with us in the studio. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Also a politician.
Yes.
If you permit me to deviate a little bit, Jumoke, just as an aside, you were an aspirant in 2011.
Yes.
You were a candidate in 2015.
Yes.
As the National Conscience Party.
Yes.
Then in 2019, we didn't hear about you.
Oh yes, we endorsed the CUPP candidate. There was a coalition of over 50 parties called the Coalition of United Political Parties, CUPP. So we jointly sponsored an opposition candidate.
Okay.
It's a democracy, so it's about numbers. So what we tried to do was aggregate our numbers together.
Okay, but then you couldn't make the numbers did not add up at the end of the day.
Well, let's not talk about that. because that would be 3 programs.
Let's leave us aside. In our intro, we actually spoke about the desirability of having autonomy at the local government levels, which is what almost everybody is clamoring for. And the local government chairman, even some of the state governors are coming out openly to say that is the way to go. And recently, federal government said the local government chairman will be held accountable for every kobo that goes to their purse, because payment is done directly to the local government purse. So that is by action. But constitutionally, even till date, we do not have a backup for the autonomy of the local government. What in your own mind is actually stalling this, as desirable as it is?
Well, if you want an academic answer, I will tell you that what is stalling it is the process, and is the legitimate constitutional process. That's the academic answer, because the disputed joint state and local government account is provided for in the Constitution. And anything can be abused. And that is the way I want to look at it, different from the way you are presenting it. Anything can be abused. If we say for this summit program, we should gather money and give to Martin to keep, and the money is gathered and given to me and I steal it, it doesn't mean it was a bad idea. It's because I abused the position that I had. So the way I will look at it is that the system as it is in the Constitution today, if it had integrity, it will work. If you go ahead and have this autonomy bill, if it has integrity, it will work. So the bottom line and the most critical thing is integrity. No system can work without integrity. No system. And that is the deficit we have in Nigeria, the integrity deficit. And we like it and we allow it. Let us stop pretending.
Sorry, integrity in what sense?
Integrity in the sense of sincerity of purpose and adhering to the rules.
On the part of who?
On the part of corporate Nigeria.
Are you talking as a politician now?
No, I'm not talking as a patriotic citizen. Let me make this point and try to prove it.
Okay.
Now, if you say the local government system as it is in the Constitution is not working, is the university system working? There's a common denominator. You can trace it. It's clear. It is the integrity deficit. And that's why I have said that no system can work without integrity. And I gave the simple example. We say we'll commit to contribute money on this summit program. After the program, we'll have snacks, and I will keep the money and I go away with the money. The system has failed. We can have the snacks. I have run away with the money. It's that simple.
But she asked you a question.
Yes.
Who do we hold responsible now? On integrity, on part of who? She asked that question.
Yes, I will answer it. I just needed to give a better background. I will say it's a systemic problem. But if you want to pinpoint it, then in every system, the leadership must take responsibility, because the leadership principle is that authority and responsibility go together. If you are in charge and things go wrong, you have to take responsibility. So if you want to pinpoint it, but here in the Nigerian system, it is systemic. And I'm not the first person to say that. Former president of ICANN said corruption is systemic in Nigeria. That's a professional. So it is systemic. Abuse of authority is systemic. What is the complaint? The complaint about local government joint account is that once the money enters the joint account, the governors use it, and the local governments don't have enough resources. But there are governors that have used it properly. Because if you look at the typical local government in Nigeria, the poor ones get maybe gross 1 billion a year. By the time you remove chairman, councillors, they are logistics, because they buy cars for themselves. How much does the local government really have to do any significant project with that structure, with what they call the HPM, the civil servants in the system? Not just the politicians, because there are civil servants in the local government system. The generator they use to run their office, the fuel supplies. So how much does the local government really have to do anything significant? Is that not the same problem we see in the federal budget? It is the same problem. Look at the proposed 2020 budget. 10.33 trillion. You're borrowing about 2.4. You're using another 2.4 for debt servicing. Your recurrent is nearly 5 trillion. So it's the same thing. If you remove the borrowed part, You find out that all the money goes into the running of government. And that's why everybody talks about the cost of governance. And that's this thing about Nigerians, talk, no action. Like the Chinese man said, he said in Nigeria, everybody's fighting corruption and everybody's corrupt. That was a Chinese businessman in Nigeria. So everybody's fighting corruption and everybody's corrupt. This is the kind of complications we have here. And that's why I say you must have integrity in the system. The system as it is today can work, and it can work well. And it has worked with some governors. Because what is it about? A project needs to be done. Local government, instead of saying local government, bring part, let me bring part. You already have it in joint account, so you take it out of the joint account and get it done. But if you take it out of the joint account and use it to sponsor election for your party. So either way. Secondly, if you give the money to the local government people and they fritter it away in corruption, what do you do? So it's not the processes. I don't believe in this thing about processes. Nigerians are emphasizing processes, an overwhelming majority. But before a process can work, I'm not saying processes are not important. It must have integrity. I'm saying that the integrity is the foundation for the process to work.
But what about the case whereby most of these local government chairmen are actually handpicked? So
exactly. That's another dimension and complication of the constitutional issue. That's a complication. You know, like when somebody has diabetes and then he has malaria, it's a complication. So now, the method of coming to power through godfatherism makes the politician loyal to the godfather. Because without the godfather, he will not have come to power. So he realizes that. So the loyalty of a politician is supposed to be to the people. So that's why I say if you want an academic answer, academically in Nigeria, the loyalty of a politician is to the people. That's academic. That's what the constitution says. That's academic. In reality, it is to the godfather who brought him to power. Because he knows that when he wants second tenure, that godfather has the capacity to bring him the same way he brought him the first time.
So that means even if this autonomy is granted.
Exactly. This complication.
Before we get to that level, whether it's going to be abused or whether it's going to run into integrity problems, let's look at the role of the houses of assembly. What's their role to ensure speedy passage of that bill? Let's talk about.
Well, you can't tell me to pass bill in my house according to your own wish. It's a federation. The constitution provides that it's a federation. The constitution says before you can do a constitutional amendment, you need 2/3 of the House of Assembly to agree with the National Assembly. So you can't abridge their own rights. That right is constitutional. So you have to allow them to pass it. And if they don't like it, they will not pass it. They're not answerable to you. It's their authority, according to our constitution. Because
2/3 of the houses of assembly,
yes, of the states must pass it. Yes, any constitutional amendment, not just local government. As long as it's a constitutional matter, to change it, National Assembly will pass it. Then 2/3 of the state house of assembly will pass it.
So why would the state or houses of assembly not want to pass it, for instance?
Well, there are many reasons. It will vary because about 10 governors have publicly supported it. About 10 have publicly supported, but that's even a minority. That's not even half. Talk of 2/3. Yeah. But maybe the others are supporting it and they're keeping quiet. But the only way you know is when they act. Because don't forget the factor of deceit. Some can come publicly and say, oh, it's a brilliant idea, we support it, and they go back and say, don't mind those people. That's lack of integrity. That's deceit. So, but we must respect our laws. Even if they are not right, what we need to do is to change them. Because if you remove law, what you have is lawlessness, anarchy. So we must respect our laws. The law gives them the authority to make that decision. I cannot make it for them, you cannot make it for them. It's their authority. So, it's been sent to them. They will pass it if they want. They will decline it if they don't want. It's their authority.
But everything still seems like revolves around the state governors, really.
Yes, I agree with that. In reality. I agree with that, 100%. I agree. Yes, I agree. Wow. That's the way it is, because that's why I said academic. academically, it shouldn't be like that. Because the state houses of assembly represent the people. The people are the sovereign. They make the laws. And the governor is supposed to implement laws that they have made, not the one he thinks in his brain. That's the academic side of it. And that's why you need integrity, because when you have integrity in a system, then the practice will conform with the theory.
Yeah.
The real authority is with the legislature. That is why every year you present your budget to the legislature. It's when they pass it and you sign it, it becomes Appropriation Act. Ordinarily, they have the authority to remove, add. Ordinarily. But we know that that's not the case, because it's a dysfunctional system. And there is no system that cannot be abused. Rotimi Williams taught us that 500 times before he died, but are we listening? Are we listening?
All right, do you think some of the feet dragging we are experiencing on this issue of local government autonomy is because they envisage that it will cause disaffection, chaos, and then maybe overheat the polity? Is that
no.
what they are trying to guide against?
No. That's very far-fetched. The reality is that the governors like it because it provides more resources to the state government at the expense of the local government. The money is in the joint account. You can't get it. It's in my control. We have a summit joint account. You contribute, I control it. So it gives additional financial capacity to state governments. Which I'm saying that if they utilize it well, then there's no problem. And then you won't even need to amend anything.
Exactly.
That's my point. And the tier you're pushing the money to, you are not even sure to be utilized well, because this is a country that is highly ranked in the Corruption Perception Index.
That's which tier now?
No, I'm saying whether you leave it at the second tier, which is the state government, or you push it down. Where do you have the guarantee of fiscal responsibility and integrity? You need to show us evidence that there is a higher level of fiscal responsibility and integrity in the local government system than in the state. Because also know that state joint accounts is not a foolish or silly idea. It provides for economies of scale.
And there may be some form of control, or maybe balance of power and things like that.
I will prefer to insist on economies of scale. I would prefer to insist on economies of scale, because if the local government has projects, every state, there's no state that has territory of state. It is the territories of the local governments that make up the state.
Yeah.
So, maybe local government A wants to build 10-kilometer stretch of a road in his own territory. Local government B wants to build 10 kilometers of the road in his own territory. The same road continue in his own territory. It is definitely cheaper with one contractor. Definitely. That's the economies of scale.
Now,
it is cheaper and faster.
Our viewers should actually be made to know that they can also...
Yeah, you can be part of the program by sending us an SMS to 080-233-47-006, 080-233-47-006. Share your thoughts with us on this discussion topic this morning, and then please include your name and your location, and then we'll read out where you're calling from. Remember, on this program, we do not pick calls. We want you to send us an SMS. Thank you.
Yeah, you've spoken lightly on the issue of integrity. Now, I'm beginning to maybe act as maybe devil's advocate here. The governors at the state levels, what probably could be their affairs? I'm aware they have oversight functions over the affairs of the local governments. And if currently in the state, a particular local government chairman has actually been asked to step aside, removed from office, for many reasons anyway. Now, do you think part of the reason why some of the governors are holding their assent to this bill is the fact that maybe the affairs The integrity issue is so high at the local government level in terms of financial accountability.
Then you can put controls, and there are national controls. Any state that is not satisfied with the national controls can put additional controls in his own within his own states. All you need is a law.
I think even this initiative is supposed to have Office of the Auditor General of Local Governments and also the State of Local Government Service Commission or something, you know, oversight, to take oversight responsibility.
If you do that, you have also increased bureaucracy again. You see, these systems are set up to run very well. They are not running very well, not because they're not properly set up, because the systems are being abused. For example, in every local government that is properly set up, you have the councillors, who are the legislators, who are supposed to oversee and approve all activities. Why is that not working? So what we keep doing in Nigeria, we try A, it won't work because we are not honest enough. We say it is because the system is not good. We run to B, it fails us. We say no, this system is not good. China is doing C, we go to C, it fails. No matter what we do without integrity, it's going to fail. Let me give you a big example. When this country started, we started with a parliamentary system. We say, oh, parliamentary system is too slow. It's not allowing fast decision making. Let us go to presidential system. Presidential system is powerful. It has an executive president that can drive development. Now you bring an executive president to drive development, he drives corruption. But he was born to drive development. Then people say, no, the executive system is bad. But that's what America used to become the biggest country in the world. But bring Nigeria will fail. Bring parliamentary will fail. We brought military, it failed. Because we ourselves don't want it to work. But we're not honest enough. Everybody says, oh, I'm holy. But everywhere is full of sin. We have to want it to work. It will never work if we don't want it to work. Look at the governance system. That's a good example. Immediately after independence, we started with a parliamentary system where we had Balawa as prime minister. After 6 years, we said, oh, this is terrible. The Abiy first kicked everybody out. Then when Obasanjo decided that military government is an aberration, we need to move back to a democracy, he put up the Constituent Assembly. The Constituent Assembly said, this parliamentary system doesn't allow anything to work. Too much debate, too much argument. We need an executive president that will drive development. We need development. So we find the right justifications to push the agenda that we think will serve our interest, not the national interest. Because if all of us were working for the national interest will be advanced. But when all of us are working for individual interest, the individual interest will be advanced at the expense of national interest.
Now let's look at the will, the will of this, the political will of this administration to actually see this bill through. It has actually demonstrated by actually making sure money gets to where it's supposed to go to. Now, the local government chairman in the last couple of months, I mean, let me even take it back as far back as 1999, since the publication of the monthly revenue accrued to local government. Do you think even we, the voters, the citizens of this country, do you think we have taken the local government administration that's at various levels, have we actually taken them to account on how the money is actually spent on terms of financial and administrative control of their territories?
We have not.
Played a role.
We have not, but I will not blame us because we have good reasons not to.
Good reasons?
Well, yes, we have good reasons not to. Yes, generally. What do I mean? Yes, it's easy to say we can get everything done. But prioritization is key in management. In other words, you deal with the more important issues first before you deal with the less important issues. I think the more important issue is the federal government that controls everything on the exclusive list and everything on the residual list. I will not leave the federal government that has 52% of national revenue and be chasing around local government. I will not do that first. I will first sort out the federal government that has 52% of total national revenue. The other 48 is shared between states and local government. So that's why I say we have good reason to focus on federal government. All these people saying leave federal government, go to your local government and tend to it. They are trying to deceive us. We'll not do that. We'll focus on the federal government. Because more than half of the money goes to federal government.
Why can't we focus on all?
Good. Exactly. We'll focus on all. You're right. That's the right thing. But I'm saying, you're right now, but in the priority, you take the more important.
To get there.
You're right
so
now.
Don't you have a right to also do?
No, we have a right now. I'm saying that in the priority, number one is federal government. To me. And that's our reason.
And you have left the local
government. No, we didn't leave them. We
do whatever they like.
No. We are giving more attention. Okay, take it like this. We are giving 52% of our attention to federal government in line with the revenue allocation formula. So we'll give 52% to federal government. Then the remaining 48, we share it between the state and local government.
Because many a time
it makes sense.
Our discourse is always on the federal government, which you have also.
I've shown the justification.
You have also emphasized it.
That's the justification.
But in any, corruption is shouldn't be of any degree. Corruption is corruption. And if there's corruption at the local, whether it is 1 naira that is involved, should we keep quiet?
No, that's your personal opinion.
No, should we keep quiet?
No, we should not. We should not. But let me give you an example. In the US, there is larceny. There is grand larceny. So thief pass thief. In the US, there's larceny. There's grand larceny. So thief pass thief. So I will not leave a big thief and chase a small thief because the big thief will destroy more. It's after I catch the big thief that I will look for the small thief.
So somebody that picks a loaf of bread from your house, you allow him to go.
No, I won't allow him to go.
Look for somebody
the one that
wants billion in Abuja.
No, wait. The one that wants to carry my motor.
Yes.
And the one that wants to take the bread, I will leave the one taking the bread and catch the one who wants to carry my motor. I'll catch that one first. The one that wants to pick my key and drive away my vehicle, I'm going to catch that one first. If the one, while I'm catching that one.
You seem to be playing down on the seriousness of this issue.
No, wait now. Wait.
Okay, Baji. They are the closest to us.
But
they can actually help to accelerate development.
But wait now.
Than the man in Abuja.
How much do they have to accelerate development?
So much.
How much?
You read the allocation monthly?
Yes.
You have just said it. The list gets about 1 billion in a year.
In a year.
So if they get
remove salary, now what is left to do anything?
No, are you now? Allowing them to get away with
whatever? Lekki Egbe Expressway, 49 kilometers, cost about 60 billion. Excuse me, sir. That's over 1 billion a kilometer. So if you use that rate, local government cannot do 1 kilometer of road. Excuse me, sir. You will not.
They can't also fix.
Wait. Wait. I'm not excusing them from doing work. I'm just saying how much work can they do comparatively. Comparatively, somebody has 1 billion. The other one has 10.33 trillion. The proposed budget is 10.33 trillion. You ask me to first chase 1 billion before. What you're saying does not make logical sense.
You're also saying that that they will get the full autonomy that is justifiable for them to do.
No. I'm saying priority.
No. Somebody priority. Bigger allocation. So that's the person that we should focus on. Irrespective of what is done,
no,
we can overlook.
No, we're not overlooking.
Their own allocation is not as big as the one in Abuja.
Wait now. Wait.
So why should we give them? Tell us why we should give them the autonomy.
Wait now. Wait.
No, tell Nigerians why they deserve autonomy.
Let me tell them. Nigerians, we are all individuals with our own idiosyncrasy. Prioritization is not my theory. What is more important needs to be given more attention. I will give more attention to a budget of 10.33 trillion than a budget of 1 trillion. That's what I will do. 1 billion, sorry, not 1 trillion. 1 billion B, 1 is T, trillion, and it's 10 trillion. The other one, 1 billion. So, and if anybody gives more attention to 1 billion, I would think that the person is not thinking clearly. I will give more attention to 10 trillion. There's a lot that can be done. And just like I talked about the Lekki Egbe Express, I can give you another indication, not to local government administration system, from cost of projects in Nigeria. The AFDB rate is less than 60 million per kilometer. But how much did you do Lekki Egbe? The African Development Bank rate for roads.
Are you aware EFCC has actually been after some local government chairmen in this country?
They should be.
So are you saying what EFCC has done is not as...
No, I'm saying that EFCC should not waste national resources unless it has the capacity to take on.
Unless it is about billions.
Hold on. The FCC people are very expensive. They are very expensive. They are very expensive. You pay their staff, you give them those trucks, you fuel those trucks, you maintain those trucks. They take external lawyers that are not cheap. Very expensive external lawyers. So you take those 100 million naira lawyers and go and recover 5 million. Is that what you want to do? Let's use better judgment, please.
All right, let me just
please.
read out
It's better you use it and follow a big case like.
Nigerians will disagree with you anyway.
No.
You must get you.
People even disagree with God. Some people even disagree with God.
Two messages we have here. He says, local government autonomy is the best way to check the excessive and abusive use of power by the governors, and the community will know who to blame for local government malfunctioning. Another one says, the governors control the state assembly. It will be difficult for local government autonomy, and also most of the governors use local government resources for their own selfish interest. That's Ibrahim from Abuja. So that's still saying that this is almost a no-go area, meaning it probably will not work out.
I agree with you.
Because it's like you're stripping the governors of part of the power they wield in their states.
The first comment I want to make is that the two comments, I agree with them 100%. I have no disagreement with those two comments. Everyone knows what is happening. I am saying that both systems, this is my personal opinion, have advantages and disadvantages. But that none will work if you don't have integrity in the system. And if you bring a third one without integrity, it will not work. So it's not about systems. And I'm saying I'm not the first person who has said this. This has been known. Rotimi Williams died more than 20 years ago. He said it. And the problem is not with the system, it's with the operators of the system. It's with the operators of the system. And I agree with him 100%. So I'm saying, change it to Banji system, change it to Onomo system, change it to Jumoke system. If there's no integrity, it will not work. So I'm saying we should focus more on the integrity for any system we choose to work. And that is why in the old British bureaucracy, if you do anything for your personal interest, it's a serious infraction for which you get disciplined. And that's the system that trained our people. But our people now act otherwise.
Now, you've said there's hardly any issue with our constitutional procedures and all that. The problem is with the integrity.
Yes.
Now, what do you think, to start with, the bill is yet to be passed. Now, do you think it's possible, or it's realistic, for instance, that the bill will be passed in no time?
No, how can you say that? Everybody knows that constitutional amendment process is a serious and tedious process. There are different interests. There are different perspectives. So it's tedious. You have to do it in the National Assembly. You have to do it in the 36 states. It's a very tedious process. So anybody who initiates a constitutional amendment process should know what is required and be patient enough to follow it through.
All right, let me read this one too so that you can respond to it. It says, good day. Regarding the DSS alarm, a bad government will always be in fear because they have skeletons in their cupboard as they have murdered sleep. Poverty is real in Nigeria until we are able to stop the politicians from their cutthroat pay and allowance. In Nigeria, we will remain poor. One governor collecting 10 million naira a month, National Assembly's bogus pay. This must stop. That's Wale from Alagbado.
I agree with him, and I even think he's very mild.
He's mild?
Yes, I agree with him, and I think he's very mild. What is 10 million? What is 10 million? What is 10 million? At least in the Senate, or let me use National Assembly, we know their budget, 125 billion. We know that they're only 469. 109 plus 360. If you divide it, I'm not saying they're taking, I'm saying we're spending almost 300 million on each one. Do the simple division. We know that. And we know that the governors are not getting less. So forget, that's why I say if you want academic, if you look at academically, the president of Nigeria earns 1.something million a month. But ask yourself, what does the Nigerian presidency cost us? Then you get an idea of what the real numbers are. So all these academic numbers, you need to look further in a forensic manner to see what it actually costs us.
All right, this one says local government autonomy is good, but it can only be on papers because government in Nigeria doesn't respect the rule of law. That's Frank from Badagry.
In fact, that's even
same question.
That's a deeper dimension than what I've been saying. That's a deeper dimension. I thank that contributor. That's a deeper dimension because ordinarily, and that's why I say academically, everybody is supposed to comply with the law. And if you are not in compliance with the law, there are sanctions.
But no one gets sanctioned.
But no one gets sanctioned. If you want to be president in Nigeria, you must have minimum WAEC. Or maybe I don't have WAEC and I have been contested. So the law needs to be upheld because the law is the foundation for society. And that's why I agree with that last caller. That's what I'm saying. He has even gone deeper than I went. I thought I was going deep. That's the fundamental. It's the rule of law. That's what a society, that's the difference between a human society and an animal society. In the jungle, there's no law. The lion is king. I want to eat this zebra today. Unless it outruns me, I'm going to eat the zebra. The zebra cannot say, obey my animal rights. You cannot chase me around today, you chased me around yesterday. Because there's no law. So that's the difference between a jungle and a human society. The rule
Tell
of
us
law.
in the next 60 seconds there about the prospects of actually getting this bill passed, and then for the stakeholders, what they must actually do.
Well, as it is now, given the response, because it's not within my control to determine what the state houses of assembly do, the cold feet of the states will prevent it from getting passed. And I'm saying that there's not so much lost. The system as it is can work. The one they have proposed can work. If you have integrity, either will work. So put integrity first and get this one working.
Talking about change of mindset for...
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. And then enforcement. And once you have the person at the top with the right perspectives, he will enforce the laws.
All right, thank you so much. We've been discussing this morning with Engineer Martins Onovo, the former presidential candidate of the National Conscience Party in 2015. And then you also mentioned something about 2011. I can't remember.
That's the presidential aspirant. That's
okay.
AA.
AA party, 2011. All right, and he's also a public affairs communicator. Thank you so much for being a part of the program.
I'm happy to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Before we go, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
We had to share the part of the cake.
Very important.
That's our show for today. My name is Banji Busari. See you.